Hello, Internet. What's up? Welcome to the second episode of the Rendering Pattern series. I hope you are working extremely hard for your goals. If not, what's stopping you? So, with this, let's begin with the parts where we will be discussing each pattern a little more briefly than the previous one. Right. So, in the previous episode, we saw that what does pre-rendering means, right? So firstly we discussed all the what are the various types of rendering patterns that exist, and then followed by that we discussed what does we mean by pre-rendering, when is the scenario in which pre-rendering happens, when is the scenario with pre-rendering, right? So in this video we will be talking about server side rendering, which would be an example of a pre-render. Okay, so we will be continuing with this particular slide where we discussed what is pre-rendering, and I told you all that we can achieve this via a Next.js application, right? So by default, if you don't use this get server side props, then by default it would be a CSR, client side rendering, and a basic React application is also a CSR, client side rendering. Okay, by CSR we mean that when the JS is loaded on the browser, then only we see the content. Okay, but with SSR it is a different case. Okay, and we will see both the cases in the next JS only. I thought to cover CSR via React application, but again, I thought that since Next.js is based on React itself, then why not to show CSR on Next.js only, right? That would be easier. So nothing, just if you have just a simple Next.js application and you don't utilize all the new features that they provide, then ideally that would be equivalent to a React application. Okay, nothing fancy. So now in this video, I'll show you via the browser how does pre-rendering looks in the network tabs, and how does no pre-rendering looks in the network tabs. Okay, first of all, we'll see a basic CSR, and then we will introduce this get server side props and make our application into a SSR. Okay, so we'll see how we can convert a CSR application to a SSR, and we'll create this Next.js application. Okay, so for that I would be closing this thing already which is implemented. We'll create it from scratch again, and I'll be so this was the previous application, right? Previous slide actually, where we discussed the server sends HTML file to the browser receives the HTML file and it displays on the screen, and the client requests a JS, and after the application hydrated, the application becomes interactive. Okay, this was already discussed previously, nothing new. So now let's go ahead and create a small Next.js application for us. So what we will do is we will go to nextjs.org docs, and we'll copy this particular line. Okay, and let's go to cd desktop, js cafe, and dev code. Okay, so let us go ahead and copy this particular command to set up our Next.js application. And while the setup is happening, we will talk something about the application. So the project name, I call it my app. Okay, and while it is creating, I'll tell you that Next.js is a framework, is a production framework, basically on top of React.js. Okay, and it has everything similar to React, right? And on top of it, it adds some extra functionalities that help us to achieve SSR, static site generation, SSG, and other stuff. Okay, so this, I like, whenever I start with a new framework, I try to understand, is it true really required for me to learn that application? And trust me, when I learned about Next.js, I was impressed by the level of control they provide over the rendering of the application. So yeah, so we have the project ready, and let's go to my app. And To run the application, we need to do a npm run dev. So we will copy it and paste it, and this should run the application on 3000. And let us go over there and do localhost 3000, and we have the basic application ready. Now, I have basic a JSON ready that is actually hosted on JSONbin.io. And if you're not aware of JSONbin.io, it is a kind of a hosting website to host your basic JSON files or JSON structure, and you can access them via a API. So if you copy the bin URL, so this is not what they provide, and you have to make sure that your bin is public so that it can be accessed via APIs. Otherwise, if it is a private bin, then you won't be able to make API calls. So I'll tell you, we have a post, right? We have a array of posts, and each object contains an ID and a title. Okay, so the idea is to make make a network call to this particular API ID and fetch some data and render it on the screen. Okay, this is a very simple task. Okay, and we will see how the approach varies when we do it via the classic CSR approach, and how does the approach varies when we do it via the new SSR approach. Okay, so I'm really excited to show you the insights of this. Now let's open this project. And if you're new to Next.js, right? So I'll tell you, this is the pages folder, and this is the entry file. Okay, so not the entry file exactly. So the page which you are seeing on the localhost 3000 actually is this particular file, index.js. So you can see that the create next tab and other stuffs and whatnot. But the agenda of this video is not to give an introduction on to Next.js. I'll If you want me to create a basic tutorial on Next.js, I would be happy to do so. But I already see a bunch of tutorials already present out there on the YouTube channel, some other YouTube channels, and I don't really feel the need of creating one, because the agenda of this whole channel is to cover the stuffs actually that are not there already. Okay, or something that would actually help your interviews. So again, if the demand is there to make the playlist, I'll be happy to. Otherwise, I'm assuming you are aware of Next.js, and if not, then don't worry. I'll make the explanation simple, very simple for you, and you won't feel like even you don't know Next.js. Okay, so so in Next.js, basically, if you want to create any route, okay, we don't exactly need a router packages as we do in React. Okay, all you need to do is, let's suppose I create a new file in the pages and I name it as my posts.js. Okay, for examples, and we do uh, have a look at this particular component, export default function home. And if we try to do something like this again over here, and I change the name of the function as my posts. Okay, and this is a place where I am writing basic React. Okay, nothing. Next.js is nothing. Okay, Next.js is nothing, just a framework written on top of React. Okay, so if you are aware of React, then you know Next.js already. Okay, there are but just some additional features or informations added that you need to grasp. Okay, that will cover gradually in the videos. So I created a function, okay, a functional component, export default function, my post, and we return a JSX. Okay, this is a fragment, and I am telling these are posts. Okay, and let's save it. And if we do slash file name, okay, when we do slash, then it searches in this directory and it matches with the file name, then we show the URL. Okay, so slash my posts.js. So if we do slash my post and hit enter, you can see the website. Okay, and don't worry, all of the backgrounds and all, it is because of the probably the global.css file. Okay, we can ignore it, but actually it is looking good. Okay, so this is the place where we saw that, where we can actually write routes just very easily. Okay, so Once we have the component ready, previously I was talking about the APIs, right? I want to show all my posts, as ULLI tags on this screen. So let's just quickly hit the API and do the stuffs. So I'll import use effect from React, and on the component mount, okay, I'll make a fetch call. So we do a fetch, and before that, okay, I need to show you one thing. Let's go to network and let's refresh it. Okay, so you can see that this main.js actually took 1.2 MB. Okay, okay. So I wanted to show you this thing. If I copy this and go to my post, and this was the HTML file that was served from the server. If I click it and go to response, and you can see that this is a basic HTML that was returned. Doc type HTML, HTML head tag, style tag, and whatnot. And if I search for my text over here, I can see it, right? You can see these are my post under this, okay, under divide next, and this was closed already. So, and this was the AS files imported over here. We don't need to worry about that, but you got the idea, right? When the HTML file was sent to us, the data was already sent with the HTML file only. Okay. Now, if I do one thing, right? If I make a API call, so I do a fetch, right? If I do a fetch, and let's copy the bin URL again, and we paste it, and we do a dot, then we got a response, and we do rest dot json, and we do a dot, then again the data, and we want to do something with the data. And let's do one more thing, const post set post equals to use state, and let it be an empty array, and let's console.log the data that is active. Okay, and let's go to the application, go to log. Oh, you can see that the uh, the APIs were called, and in the records you can see that we are able to fetch all of our data, right? This is cool. So it is actually present in the record dot post. So if I do set post and do data dot records dot post, and what I'll do is over here I'll create a UL tag. Okay, so we have this UL tag, and I'll create I'll actually map over the array. So I'll do post dot map post, and I'm gonna return li with post dot title, and the key would be post dot id, right? So data dot record, it is record actually. So okay, yeah. So here we go. So here you can see that we actually are rendering all of the data from the API. Now let me refresh this once for you. Okay, and we go to network tab. Perfect. Now if I go to the HTML file that was actually served, and just pause the video for once and try to figure out, will I be able to search for the text my post one when the HTML was served? Right. Give it a pause. Right. Give video a pause, think about it, and then resume. So let me search it. Whoa, I am not able to find it in the HTML file. Right. So the reason we are not able to find my post 1, 2, 3 in the HTML file is that because these this particular data is not pre-rendered on the server, but it was rendered on the client, right? So when rendered on the client, which means that this particular piece of JS was executed on this particular browser after the HTML file was served. And if you try to search for this particular text that is static over here, right, you can see that we are able to see that. And notice how UL is just empty, right? Let me zoom in for you. I don't know if you're able to see it. Notice how this UL tag is empty, right? We don't have nothing, so we have nothing actually. Whatever was served from this HTML file, this was served statically along with this particular text. These are my post, and the UL tag was empty. The content over here was rendered on the client after this code was executed, right? This is CSR, and this is what you see on a basic React application or on a basic Next.js application. Okay, I hope you understood it now. Okay, now you see that, right? You see that. So the problem with this is, now let's suppose I have the list of all my posts. Okay, suppose this is a blog. So when the web crawlers will make a request to the servers to fetch the page data, actually the web server will return this particular HTML, okay, which we just saw, the empty part, right? This particular thing. It will not serve all of these content because these contents are generated on the client side and not on the server side, and the crawlers actually read the server data, right? Because they don't have a client, right? They are just crawlers crawling through the servers, right? So this part is not SEO friendly, and this is the reason why most of the basic React application are so poor in the search engine optimization, right? Now with when this Next.js came into the market, it solved our problem by introducing SSR. Although SSR was already there before Next.js also, you'll have to modify this whole React config from scratch and do a lot of stuff to make a React application into a SSR. That too is again a very painful procedure. With CSR, it is just a simple code changes in your file only, and you can convert an application into a SSR, uh, like a piece of cake. Okay, it's very simple. Now let's go ahead and convert this part into a SSR. So to convert it into a SSR, right, we have to export a function, export function get server side props. Okay, we can search this for also on the Next.js. Right, so you can read it about over here. So if you export a function called get server side props SSR from a page, Next.js will pre-render this page on each request. As simple as that, right? This is exactly what we want, and I think it's better to copy it from here than to edit from scratch. Right, here we go. And all of this data, right, we can move it into the get server side props. So what I'll do is I'll copy this piece of line and I'll do const promise equals to await fetch, right? Const data equals to await promise.json, right? And when we have the data from the API as a prop, we can pass my posts, right? And or we can do posts, right? We were already doing it. So post, and we will get this data from here, and we can remove this, not needed. And what we will do is we will get rid of this, we don't need anymore. And this what would be, we get the props, right, like a basic React application. And we will do props.posts.map, and this is it. So what this function will do is, when the server is creating a build to send a HTML file, once it comes to this file, right, and it sees a function get server side prompt, and this will execute it before returning the HTML. And whatever data we got in this particular API request, we will pass it as a prop called post, and this would be the data, right? And when we receive the props, we are actually mapping it over. Now let us refresh the page and see if it is working. Perfect. So we are able to render this on our screens. And now comes the point, right? Now if I search for my post one into the HTML that was served from server, will I get it or will I get it not? So yeah, we will get it. And as you can see that this time in the HTML, we can see this particular text that was already being sent in the previous CSR application also. But this time the UL tag is not empty. This time in the UL tag we have li. Okay, we have li, we have my post 1, we have my post 2, we have my post 3. And this is super awesome, right? Imagine now the web crawler makes a hit to the servers to fetch the data of the website, and this time you are actually getting the post, right? So that now just imagine the power, like the value of SEO that you will receive, right? This would be mind blowing, right? So this particular thing is extremely powerful. This is very SEO friendly because this time in the HTML you are actually getting the visible content. Now let me reiterate you to the diagram which we saw previously. Now on the initial upload I was always telling that we will see a visible content, right? This is what I meant by visible content. The visible content was this particular li tag, right, which was not visible until we were using CSR, client side rendering, and this was hampering our search engine optimization. So this part is extremely powerful. This part is extremely powerful, and trust me, Next.js has changed the game. If you have learned React.js up till now, you are comfortable with it. Now it is time for you to move to Next.js and uplift your level. This is the time because this is game changer and this is extremely powerful. Yeah, so this was the basics SSR and CSR, and we saw the difference between CSR and a SSR, right? So I hope you the concepts are clear, and the like target of this video is 50 likes. If you see that the likes on the video are less than 50, go ahead and smash that like button. Click on the share button also, and click on the subscribe button also. Share this video with your friends so that they are aware of this remarkable things that we are experiencing on JS Cafe. And also if you think the like target is already achieved, then also please go ahead and do give a like to the video. I am working extremely hard for you guys, and this is probably Sunday I'm recording this. No chill out, no fun, but again here I am for you, making videos so that you grow in your life, you achieve your dreams, right? I am happy to contribute in your career. I am happy to contribute in your interviews. Even if a single question in your interviews that was asked is there on my channel, right, and the solution was there and you were able to answer that question smoothly, so please share this video, share this channel with your friends so that they also benefit from the content. Okay, so let's grow together, right? I am super happy to have you on my channel. So yeah, that was all in this video. If you have any questions related to SSR, CSR, drop your queries in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer them. And yeah, that was all. See you in the next one. Till then, take care. Goodbye.